Welcome to Anando's Key Lectures. Topic is Friction, Kinetic and Static Friction, Laws of Static Friction. Teacher Anand Mohandas. Friction. What is friction? Friction or frictional force is defined as a force that resists an object's motion on a surface. The object can either be stationary or in motion relative to the surface. So we can say a tangential force generating between two contacting surfaces is frictional force. I have marked the tangential force in the picture, and there is a force normal and there is a resultant force. So in the second diagram you can see the normal force, force of gravity and the force of friction. So frictional force equal to coefficient of friction into normal force. Mu is the coefficient of friction. So the formula for frictional force is coefficient of friction into normal force. There are two main types of friction, that is static friction and kinetic friction. So static friction is a friction between a stationary object and the surface of contact. So frictional force, static frictional force equal to static coefficient of friction into normal force, and normal force is gravity here in the second example. Now let's see static friction on an inclined plane. So static friction, as you know, is a resistant force that existing between a stationary object and the surface in contact. The object is stationary. So the formula here you can see Fn equal to, you can resolve the into components. The mg cos theta is the mg sin theta is the horizontal component, mg cos theta is the vertical component. So when you calculate the static friction, which is equal to coefficient of friction into normal, that is mu s into mg cos theta. If the component of gravity down the incline is equal to frictional force, you can say mg sin theta equal to the frictional force itself, which is equal to mu s into mg cos theta. So mu s equal to sin theta by cos theta, which is equal to tan theta. Also you can see the coefficient of friction is mu s equal to a by b. And coefficient for friction, it is a measure of the amount of interaction between two surfaces. Let us see kinetic friction on an inclined plane. You have seen the static friction. Here the difference is that kinetic friction is a resistant force that exists between moving object. For static friction, it is the object is static, and here it is a moving object. So the kinetic friction, you can see the formula of K equal to mu K into normal force. The picture is the same. Only difference is that it's a moving object. So basically, we can say in the static case, the block is at rest on the incline, and to raise the incline until the block starts to slide. So, and kinetic, in the case of kinetic, the block on the incline, raise the incline in the steps and bump the block gently set into motion. So it gets into motion. Now let's just look at the laws of static friction. Generally, the direction of static frictional force is always opposite to the direction of motion. Static frictional force always acts tangentially on the surface. We have seen that of two objects in the contact with each other. The magnitude of the static frictional force and the normal between the surface of two objects are directly proportional to each other. Also, the static friction is always independent of the shape and the area of the surface of the object. Also, the static frictional force is always dependent on the material and the nature of surface of the object that are contacted with each other, as well as the smoothness and roughness of the object. So these are the laws of static friction. So I'm just telling the laws of static friction, and we'll do a problem, just check a problem. What is the coefficient of friction when angle is 15 degrees? So you know the formula mu equal to sin theta by cos theta, and you can find tan 15 equal to 0.268 coefficient. And the second problem, a 50 kg box have a kinetic frictional force of 20 Newton. What is the coefficient of friction? So Fk is 20 Newton, N equal to mass into acceleration, 50 into 9.8, 490 Newton. Fk equal to mu k into N, the formula, 20 equal to mu k into 490, and mu k, that is the coefficient of kinetic friction, equal to 0.04. So using the formula Fk equal to mu k into N, we can find the coefficient of friction also in the problem. So, if the force, kinetic force, frictional force is given, we can find the coefficient for friction also. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you.